Welcome to WagerTalk Today, the gold standard of sports betting shows where we talk the talk and walk the walk. The Hawks and Timberwolves take 2-1 leads as dogs in their series. Tonight, the 76ers and Blazers try and do the same. Lakers trying to go up 3-0. MLB, we got ponies, we got NFL draft, and more. Dan, before we get to who's on today's show, are you happy with where your Eagles are headed in the draft?
Oh, yeah, I loved it. So I'm not sure if you saw the recap, Andy, where the Steelers were on the phone getting ready to draft Mekhi Lemon and do their whole renegade thing.
Brutal.
And then, and then the one team that you figured wouldn't trade with the Cowboys does. The Eagles move up. They grab Mekhi Lemon, stud wide receiver room, new offensive coordinator, Sean Mannion. I think he has plenty of pieces to play with now. It's all about shoring up that offensive line. Interestingly enough, Andy, little water cooler trivia here for you. The Eagles, in recent memory, they have traded up with the Cowboys, auspiciously, 2 times now in the past 5 years. The last time they did it was in 2021. When the Eagles did that, they traded up to take Devontae Smith, a wide receiver. And then with the pick they traded with the Cowboys then took a pass rusher in Micah Parsons. And now in this one, the Eagles trade up. They end up taking, obviously, Lemon. And then the pass rusher, who's Malachi something or other, is who the Cowboys end up taking. So the trade has worked when the Eagles and Cowboys have traded. Just interestingly enough, it was a pass rusher and a wide receiver that the flip-flop had happened for. But yeah, I was happy with it. And it basically seals all those rumors that people were wondering about. Where does AJ go? Now, I will say, Andy, and we'll let you know what we have coming on the show. Free plays coming your way. One thing I will say is I would actually make the field the favorite against the Patriots on where A.J. Brown would be traded. I think that's all. There's too much smoke there for a guy like Howie Roseman and just say, yeah, he's going where everyone has said he is going, you know?
I feel like it never works out that way.
No,
whenever it's like, oh, this player is 100% going to this team, and then all of a sudden it's like the Rockets come in and like get Durant, like, it's just some of these weird things. And you're right. Whenever you think where somebody is going to get traded to, somebody comes in at the last second.
And especially a guy like Howie Roseman, who always likes doing, the smoke and mirrors kind of stuff. So yes, Andy, and I know your Colts didn't go anywhere in the draft because they used up their first pick on Sauce Gardner. So so we'll see where your Colts go on these coming days. I like you wearing your Colts colors to bring a little good juju the rest of the way.
So I will say this. If you're a GM and you're thinking about trading multiple first-round picks for a free agent, you should be forced to go to the draft and sit there and watch all the young talent get drafted while you don't have a pick. Because it was brutal last night. I'm sitting there and I'm going,
and you know that there's nothing going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, you used up all your chips.
Yeah. So that one's a little tough. So,
but we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening on the coming days here in the draft. So it'll be interesting to see what do the Colts do. Yes, they did steal Sauce, and sure, Block. You want to see me without the hat? The hat's helping up a bad hair day. I do come on hatless from time to time, Andy. But when you got a busy morning of trying to scour 15 different lacrosse matches, trying to find a play for the clients, it's a hat day in that instance. So there you go. Coming up here on the show, we got Teddy Covers. He's going to follow Yanni the Greek. That's right. Yanni is in the house waiting in the wings. Steam report. What are we seeing? Movers, shakers, NBA playoffs, NHL playoffs, MLB action. Where is the sharp money going? Yanni is going to let you know. All we ask you to do, hit that like button. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Teddy Covers is going to join us. Celtics, he's going to be breaking down the Blazers taking on the Spurs, and Lakers Rockets. That's what Teddy has coming your way. And we're going to do a little bit different on Sell Me. We're also going to give away another winner as the Knicks and Hawks series has continued the pendulum swinging back and forth. Marco's coming on. He's got Cubs and Dodgers, Marlins, Giants. What do you need to know about betting the Kentucky Derby? That's going to be here before we know it. And Marco will give you the latest on what he's seeing and where you can find out more here at Wager Talk Andy will take you all around the world. And Andy, last night, we did lose our, I guess, yesterday afternoon, I guess we could say, we did lose our Wager Talk Today play of the day. So the streak ends at 6. A new streak begins today, Andy.
I knew I sent you a message. I knew what was going to happen. I almost went with Glass.
You literally called
his outs. He flew over his outs. I almost went with another play. And so we had Red Sox under 1.5 team total in the first 5. An error scores the first run. And then with 2 outs in the 5th, a solo home run. And then the next guy gets like the easiest out ever. It was just like, this is my day.
You called it. No, Andy literally messaged me earlier in the day, and he was like, the second that the outs went over for the Dodgers, he goes, we're losing our Wager Talk Today play of the day. And I was like, well, I already bet it, Andy. So here we go. Let's ride, baby. But 6 straight, man. That's a great little run. Let's start a new one today, man.
All right, let's do it. We're going to go to the a number that I just don't get, and I think this is recency bias. And when I say recency bias, I mean the last like 10 years of the Rockies being on the road, and we're getting this really low number of 2.5 on their team total. That's for the full game. It's a little bit juicy at -135, but almost any team you're going to give me 2.5, you got to be interested in. They're facing Freddie Peralta, who has given up 3+ runs by himself in 3 out of 5 starts this season. And we talk about how, the Rockies are a different team on the road. Dan, they've gone over this total in 4 out of the last 7 away games. These bats are not as bad on the road as I think we previously thought. If it's just a 3.5, probably staying away. But agreed. I just can't pass up a 2.5 against a Freddie Peralta. They're not going up against Ohtani. You're not going up against Yamamoto, who's going to go 8 innings. This is a Freddie Peralta who has not been dialed in this year. So I cannot pass up the Rockies team total over 2.5. I know it's on the road. That's why we're getting a gift on this number.
Yeah, I completely agree. And for what it's worth, ATS, again, this team, even when they're on the road, 7-6. I know it's nothing to write home about, but this is a team you're flipping the coin with of keeping these games close. I'm with you. If it wasn't a team who's on a 3-10 run on the road, and if this was a home game, obviously you expect more. But yeah, against this Mets pitching staff, I also think the 210 that you're seeing here above for the Mets. I'm not saying we got a live barking dog here. I'm just saying, 2 wins for the Mets does not a, full momentum swing make. So I'm right there with you, man. Let's take the Rockies team total up and over a really advantageous number.
All right, let's do it. Let's bring on Yanni. Let's talk some steam. Let's talk. I kind of saw some of the recap of the NFL draft, but again, Yanni, just not a whole lot of excitement, not a lot of talk about betting the draft. I kind of missed it last night. I was on social media like, who's hitting bets, and there just wasn't a lot. I think the big overall consensus was the over 7.5 offensive linemen. That was the one I saw that was kind of the consensus big one that kind of got hit. What did you see from the NFL draft last night?
Yeah, and the quarterback was the big one, the 1.5. Whether Ty Simpson will go in the first round or whether he won't go in the first round. There's a big difference of opinion there. I was on the right side of there. I thought Simpson would go, even though he only started 1 season for Alabama. It's the pedigree. You know what I mean? He was built for a pro system. He's got the physical attributes and the small sample size they do have. The kid was great. So with the combine, I wasn't surprised he went in the first round. Again, anytime you could get your hands on an Alabama quarterback, why pass that up? With that said, I wasn't really excited about the draft. And more importantly, I didn't see a lot going on leading into the draft. Like I said, I only had 3 bets leading into yesterday. We cashed 2 out of 3 of them. And I kind of felt like, let me use the mock draft that I have and would find some more value. And I kind of was digging. I think I ended up like splitting, maybe lost a unit on those added couple plays. But it was just that kind of draft where like I didn't feel real confident about any positions. And I didn't see any like excitement from the market or from like the bookmakers, odds makers making a big deal about it. So it's just one of them, like blah drafts. And now it's back to NBA playoffs, where luckily hit another NBA playoff bet yesterday. So this week I'm 8-0 in the NBA playoffs, over 70% for the NBA postseason overall. And yeah, looking forward to this weekend. We got some good games tonight and tomorrow already lined up.
Look at you, 8-0 in NBA playoffs. Nice run.
Yeah,
nice
yeah.
week,
With a couple money lines in there too, Andy, like Lakers money line the other night against Houston. So it hasn't been like, all chalk or anything like that. Been a nice run. And it's all power rating. Like I said, the groups I work with, when it gets to the playoffs, I'm on my own. But fortunately, by the time the playoffs come around, I have a big enough sample size, a lot of experience in history, and I trust the numbers I'm working with. So even if they're not betting a lot of the sides or totals, like I feel confident doing my own work. It worked out well in the NFL and college football, not so much in the college basketball late part of March Madness. But so far in the NBA, it's doing what it's supposed to. And hopefully that continues throughout. And it should. As like teams get eliminated and you start getting just the cream towards the top, like it's so much easier to set a line as far as power ratings go. When you got these like 1 versus 8s, 2 versus 7s, they're a little more difficult. Like how like should it be 11 or should it be 12? That makes it harder. But when you're talking about 1 versus 3, 2 versus 4, it's easier to make a line. One team's very short favorite, if at all. And you more or less just have to factor in home court advantage pretty good if they have it.
Well, let's do Steam report, and I want to come back to those power rankings. I got to ask you about something if you factor it in. So what are we seeing here on some of the NBA games today? And then we got a lot of baseball in the night. So we got some time before these games start.
Indeed. 2 totals got bet, both over, and that was Boston, Philadelphia, over 215, and Lakers, Houston, over 205. Sides that got hit, Houston at plus 10.5. That's not available. Couple shops went to like 10.5 yesterday. They got picked off really quickly. That's why you're looking at 9.5. I don't think you'll get the double digit again. But I do think it's worth buying a half a point from 9.5 to 10. I think it's actually should be worth like 11 cents or 12 cents, and they only charge you 10. So that's one of those half points that I think is actually worth it in the NBA. You may want to double check me on that. I don't have my chart in front of me. And also they bet the Spurs. They opened at 3, got bet down to like pick 'em or 1, and that's when they got involved. The group that at least that I work with, they got in on the Spurs on the money line at about 115, 120, and it's since been bet back up. But I do know another group that grabbed the 3 with the dog in that matchup. So it seems like a difference of opinion in the Spurs side, but elsewhere, Houston at double digits, they'll grab. So if they get too heavy on the Lakers, on the Lakers side, then rest assured, the Houston side, forgive me, then they know they're looking for Lakers at double digits. I meant Lakers, not Houston getting 10, obviously, not Lakers getting Houston getting the 10. So they're looking for double digits on the Lakers. I don't know if they're going to get it because the public so far looking at the back end, and it's still early in the day. Like you said, without day baseball, there's not too much being tied into later action. But from what I do see, the more public action is on the Lakers. And again, when you're getting a team that's up 2-0, getting 9 points, I can kind of see why they may look attractive to a lot of recreational bettors. Because even though Houston has their back against the wall and it's a must-win situation, like they got a must-win is a must-win, not must-win by 10. You know what I mean? They just got to win. And I think that's why you're seeing the public lining up on the Lakers. They're actually betting the Lakers is the only dog. They're taking the Celtics in that early game, and they're taking the Spurs late. So you have some sharps on the Spurs and the public on the Spurs as well. But I think if they need Portland money, they could just go to 3 and they'll get it.
What a great line. Must win, not a must win by 10.
That's what it's good point. Right? Well, just got to get it done.
What are we looking at in baseball?
All right. Yeah, we have some baseball because there's not in NHL. The only NHL I had was the Edmonton one side. That was it. They took actually Anaheim. Forgive me. Anaheim against Edmonton. They took like Anaheim at like plus 120. It wasn't really readily available. Most were around 115 at that time that they were looking for that number. In Major League Baseball, not a lot of volume yet, but here's what I do have. 4 totals, And no surprise around a key number, 953 over 9, Philly, Atlanta, 958 under 9.5, Oakland Dodgers, 967 under 9, Angels, KC, and 972 under 9.5, Yankees and Houston. And finally, the one side that's sticking out as legit is Milwaukee, plus 115. Again, there's a lot of scalping going on with these money lines. So even though you'll see a line move early in the morning, a lot of times you'll see take back later in the day. And I just see that they're, especially now with these prediction markets and the way they price things, you're able to just play a lot of scalps if you have accounts. They're available in baseball throughout the day. So that's why you'll see the line move up, back, up, back, up, back throughout the day.
Anything in NHL? We talked yesterday. Watch out for the overreaction going back to the overs. And then sure enough, we get a couple of unders to start off the night, and the unders are right back to hitting. What have we seen in NHL?
Yeah. And they're betting Montreal. That's why I didn't put that on the steam sheet as sharp. Maybe a little sharp when a line first opened, but since then it's the public that's driving that Montreal line down. Like they're taking Montreal at home as dogs against Tampa Bay. They're betting Utah blindly. That's the one that sticks out the most against Vegas. They're getting them at even money pretty much at home. They're fading Vegas on the road. And Edmonton, Anaheim, this will be a difference of opinion where the public is on the Edmonton side. But that is the one sharp play that we did see some Anaheim plus 120, 117 get picked off. So interesting to see if the favorites get the money for the house tonight, because that's kind of what they need. Tampa favorite, Vegas favorite. The public's coming in on some doggies tonight.
I want to go back to you mentioned your power ratings for NBA. Do you try and take into account things that are not directly in the numbers? And I'm looking at the Houston Rockets. This team is in turmoil. The coach and Reed Shepherd don't get along. Kevin Durant has the burner situation. I don't know if you saw Jamari Smith's quote the other night. He was saying Kevin Durant's just got to get out of the double team himself. The team's in absolute turmoil. You look at them as a whole, they should be way better than this Lakers team. But is that baked into your power rankings? No. And here's why. It's just so difficult, if not impossible, to quantify. If there's one thing I've learned in my 3+ decades betting sports, it's separating noise from what really matters. And that matters, like the attitude in the locker room, the relationship between player and coaches, owner and players, all that matters. Damn right it matters. Day by day it matters. How they react is going to matter. How they play, it's going to matter. But it's just so difficult to price. So I kind of just let it go and look at data that I can quantify. That's what the guy that creates the power ratings that I use, a lot smarter than me when it comes to the math side. And that's what we really focused on. What can we input that's backed by data and correlated to being predictive also? Is it predictive data? And it's very hard to find data that's predictive and then prove that it's predictive. But with that said, those kind of factors, they matter, but they're just so hard to quantify. What is it worth? And it's different from team to team, year to year, player to player. And that's why I call it noise, but it isn't. Because again, it should affect your handicap, but as far as pricing, it's a hard thing to do. But it's difficult not to be biased by it. So that's where I kind of try to block myself from that, where I don't really go on social media or watch preview shows or ESPN, Sports Center and all that. Because when I did that, I would be biased. And I can't help it. I just don't have that ability to hear all these things, see all these things, and not let it influence me. That's why I won't look at the lines. Even with these NBA, I have my Saturday lines before I look at tomorrow's lines. You know what I mean? I had today for NBA before I was going to look at them, because I didn't know they made Houston the favorite.
and my numbers have San Antonio the favorite. But if I looked up first and saw Houston favored, then I'm going in biased already thinking Houston's the favorite. So kind of the same thing with that kind of information. It's hard to quantify. So I kind of just like, it's in my head, but I try not to let it affect me too much.
We need to put some numbers to these
or some trends, even some trends. Like you came out with the trend with the pregnancy and the baby in.
That's what I mean.
Feed the baby.
50 cents. If you just had a baby within 3 weeks, it's 50 cents off the line.
There you go. That's what I'm saying. Those are trends. Once you develop a decent enough sample size, you can create a number and try to figure out for yourself what it's worth. And if anything, that's where you're going to find value. Because I'll bet you that they're not factoring a lot of that into the betting line. You know what I mean? Like they'll shade the price towards some biases, but that's only if the public is really biased in that direction. Otherwise, they're not thinking like that. So that's a great way to take advantage and as a handicapper and actually come up with some plays that the information is not factored into the price. Because
I got one.
That stuff.
I got one for tomorrow. Take off 60 cents on a fighter fighting after they failed a drug test. Mayra Buena Silva is 0-4 after failing a drug test. 0-4. She has not won a fight since she failed a drug test. Like, there's got to be a way to.
Yes, and if you go back,
there's got to be a way to put these numbers into.
There is, and there's quants that could run that. Probably in 30 minutes. You know what I mean? By just grabbing that data and letting us know the last 50 MMA fighters that got popped, this is what they did their next 5 fights. I would love to see that number. That's the stuff I love looking at.
This needs to happen. This is like the next frontier of how to put. Jared Gordon got hit by a car a couple days before his fight. What's that worth? $1.20? Got hit by an auto? Got hit by a vehicle?
That's where it's at. That's where it's at. Yeah.
Speaking of UFC, let's take a look at the lines. It looks like everybody made weight, so all fights are on. I have not seen any major line moves that concern me at all. I guess the only thing I would say is there's a little bit of money coming in on Jackson McVeigh. That would terrify me to lay almost $2 on Jackson McVeigh. Anything you're seeing on your end, but I'm not seeing a whole lot.
Edwards, we've talked about her. That line is dropping, so you're seeing some respect on the Edwards side. I agree with that move. Where was it that I was looking at? The Buena Silva, the Rafa Garcia. I saw him at some shops favored. Now I'm looking back, and he's back to Hernandez at 125, 130. But there were some sharp, some paper heads that I use, off-screen outs that actually had it at -110 late last night, both sides. So someone got Garcia at even money yesterday, or plus 105, whatever they were able to get, 110. Definitely with some sharp money on Garcia.
All right. What do you have up for everyone on Friday?
I have the Friday NBA package was up from yesterday because there was already a play we fired on, and we are going to get closing line value on that for sure. But when I get off here within the next 30 minutes, I'm going to add a 5% big move in there. I just confirmed it. I've been working since this morning, and I was going to stick with these 4% and not put that pressure, because even the other night I had 3-4% and we swept those. And one of them I was ready to upgrade to a 5%. And I'm like, dude, don't do it. Just put it out like that. But when I feel like something is warranted stronger, I got to do it. So we're firing a 5% tonight. Probably business-wise, I probably should have saved it for tomorrow or the weekend, but I got to take what the market gives me, brother. So I'll have a 5% in that package. You probably have about 30 minutes to get it for $10 cheaper because that price will go up when the 5% goes in there. MMA package is also up. That's UFC 4 Saturday with a 5% in there as well. Steam Sheets up also. I've been up early, man. I had restless arm and been up since 2:45 in the morning, if you can believe that. So that Steam Sheet's been out with a lot of good stuff in there. And big weekend ahead. Steam Room is free for all tomorrow. So make sure you come in. Make sure you have questions ready for me. and we're going to go over NBA, NHL, Major League Baseball, risk management, anything else you want to talk about. I'll be there for you guys. That's 1 p.m. Eastern. And best of luck to you both this weekend, and all the viewers as well. Do some damage.
All right. Thank you very much, Yanni.
Thanks,
Appreciate it. Yanni, the Greek. A couple questions here. Where's the sharp money for MLB? As Yanni said, when it's all night games, it's really hard to tell right now. You're not going to know until about an hour before pitch. So you're seeing some line movement. You got to remember the limits are pretty low. So a little bit will move the line, and then you never know if it's buyback or if it's not. So when it's all night games, when we're recording this, it's pretty hard to say, and you can get yourself in some trouble trying to guess the line moves and where the sharp money's going. So let's see a couple of other ones. Denny Avdia over 23.5 points tonight. Him going home after a bad game shooting gets it done. I'm stunned that they're listing Wemby as questionable. I don't want to guess on an injury, but I would be stunned if he plays tonight after a concussion. I mean, I know football is not basketball. With football, you're out 10 days. So like I would, if you're the Spurs, why would you risk it? Sit him out a game, give him a little bit of time to heal. If he's out, then yeah, you're looking at some trailblazers. I would handicap the game as Wemby not going to play. I don't care that he's traveling with the team. You have about the Trailblazers, cheap ass owner, right, Dan?
I mean, it's
how he won't fly the extra players to the game. He won't let him check out.
Another level. It's another level of greed.
Won't let him check out of the hotel late.
Pretty crazy.
God.
Yeah.
So no, the Spurs, they're flying Wemby there. So and then Edmonton versus Anaheim, total over. That's the only NHL game or series that I would even looking at the overs. They've been scoring goals. The other games are just rock fights, 3-1s, 2-1s, and that's even with empty nets. the 3-1 I think had an empty net. So that's the only game I would look at with the over. But even then, I don't know how I would do that. And then Keith wants to know about Talladega best bets. I do not bet Talladega or I don't bet these pack racing ones. We've been running good in NASCAR. We've hit our bets the last couple of weeks. So I have not bet on I still call them restrictor plate. I haven't bet on them in years. And if I wouldn't. So real quick, guys, bummer. We lost our 5% play last night. It was dead from the very beginning. The Nuggets were discombobulated when Aaron Gordon got rolled out. I thought it would help us. We beat the line by a mile. Here's our CLV trophy. But the thing is, I may just go right back to it, Dan. Those all access clients. We've made a ton of money off of Cam Johnson over his points. So I'm not mad at the handicap. I'm mad at the performance of the Nuggets.
No, and goes 0-for-3 of shooting, doesn't even end up playing in the fourth quarter. And as you mentioned, Aaron Gordon gets, ruled out. So then our line that we locked in at 11.5, juice starts moving up. Then it ends up at 12.5. Some books had it even higher. So like Yanni said, you did your job, but unfortunately the player did not do his job, and bad night shooting paired with just a team that just looked off, man. It was a weird game for the Nuggets last night. So can't beat yourself up. We'll go into bounce back mode here tonight, Andy. And I messaged you on the side. I was mentioning 15 different lacrosse games going today. Clients and all access clients will be getting a play tonight that I think should be right around a 4%er for us. So we'll nail that down. But a game that goes at 7:30 tonight, we'll have a best bet up for clients after the show.
I'm going to put that in the package that we already have up. So this is a
Perfect.
Monster package. Yeah, we have an MLB, an NHL, an NBA, and now a lacrosse play that is all wrapped up into one.
One of these things is not like the other, Andy, but hey, it's going to be included in the package regardless.
All these are available on your FanDuels, your DraftKings, and everything. So honestly, despite the loss last week, I'm happy with we're on sustainable runs, 6-3 in the playoffs in NBA. I think we can continue that. NHL, we've had 2 plays in the playoffs. We hit both of them. 5-1 on an MLB run. I know you guys don't think of me as an MLB handicapper. I do. We've done pretty well in MLB this season, profitable and on a 5-1 run. And Dan's lacrosse needs no explanation. Casually hitting 74% of his bets in 2026.
We bounced back. We had a loser last Saturday. We bounced back with an outright winner, a 7.5 point dog. So let's continue, Andy. The new streak starts today for the client.
We've been doing comments in the comment section on just kind of a random topic. I think we got to do winners and losers of the draft, right?
Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great one. Comment below winners and draft losers, and we'll chop it up with you down there. That's a great one, Andy.
Steelers, the Steelers having their draft pick taken right as they're on the phone with them.
While they're on the phone with them might be one of my favorite things. We'll see if it was one of Marco's favorite things when we talk with him. But Renegade is playing.
He's backstage.
That was we got the double birds. We got the double birds from Marco. We'll put a pin in this, Andy. We'll wait to get Marco's thoughts. We got to bring in Teddy Covers here. And yes, I'm not sure of the statute of limitations on double birds allowed. I know we maybe get one of them per show. So we'll keep that in the waiting room. But Teddy, great to see you, man. How are we doing today, brother?
So you guys with Gianni were having the single most important conversation about sports betting that you can have. And it kind of got glossed over. So I did a little bit. You talked about what is in his power ratings and what isn't. And when we talk about what we're looking for as bettors, why you're going to pay someone for picks, it's not about, are my power ratings better than yours? It's not about, is my market number better than yours? It's, can I digest information that is not appropriately priced in the power rating numbers? And what is that information, and how can we use it, and how does it matter? And that, my friends, is the key to sports betting. It's not what's in the number. I hear people talking all the time, giving analysis, oh, this, that, the other, this guy's got a 6.7 ERA and blah, blah, blah. That's all baked into the number. All the hard stuff, all the math, all the stats are baked into the number. The way you find legitimate edges is when you find stuff that's not baked into the number. And that's all the off-court stuff. When you get good info on, hey, this player's screwing that player's wife, whatever kind of, nonsense there is out there, that's where the money is to be made. And that's my job and Johnny's job and Marco's job, is to dig in and find that stuff that's not fully priced into the point spread. So
I knew you were going to be passionate about this, and I couldn't wait to ask you about it, because you and I are the same thing. You always say, read the quotes, and I'm always fade the baby theory. Or this guy's mad at this guy, or they're arguing. And to me, that Rockets situation was a perfect example of this.
Well, Houston figured something out the last 2 weeks of the season. All right. They were killing teams. Their offense, they had a road trip. And I remember they had a team meeting after they lost in Chicago, got a 5% big ticket going against them in Chicago. They lost that game outright as 9.5 point favorites. They lost again the next game. And they had a team meeting, like no coaches, no nothing. And that was the first time all year that Houston kind of got it together and the offense clicked, and they played good basketball for about 2 or 3 weeks after that. Now they run into some adversity.
Yeah, Kevin Durant banging his knee in practice, like just such a weird situation. So, all right, well, let's get into the games here. You got Celtics, 76ers, and you got the Lakers and Rockets. This Celtics, 76ers, the first two games has kind of been who's hitting their threes. 76ers did not hit them. Who do you like today?
Sure. Well, let me introduce the game properly. Let's talk about the Spurs and the Blazers.
Oh, you're doing the Spurs. I'm sorry.
Right now, looking at the odds logic live odds screen, San Antonio -2.5, total sitting 219.5. There are some 220/220.5s out there. And of course, the odds logic. Guys, if you haven't gotten the free trial, just try it. oddslogic.com/Teddy. It takes about a minute to fill out the form. You get free 7-day trial of the odds logic live odds screen. And it helps. It helps in a lot of different ways. Shows you where the sharp money is. You can group your books together. You can know when you what bet now or bet later. oddslogic.com/Teddy. But the odds logic screen says all the money's come for San Antonio, 2.5, the prevailing number right now. And again, the total sitting in the 220 range. So we've seen Spurs money. And conceptually, I'm looking for reasons to bet the Spurs. In general, in NBA playoff series, especially as we get to game 3, game 4. After the first 2 games, I'm really looking to bet on the team that I think is going to win the series. And I think San Antonio wins this series, whether Wemby plays or whether Wemby's all concussed. And that was a nasty hit to the back of his head, man. If you watch that in slow-mo, you're like, ow. That said, he went through walkthroughs. He drilled with the team, and he's in Portland. So there's at least a chance he will suit up this evening. And like the Spurs have all this postseason success or all this postseason track record, they have none. So you say, oh, they could sit Wemby tonight. They'll be, San Antonio, there's urgency. This is not a team that has been in these spots, that has been able to overcome adversity on the road in the playoffs and and they haven't been in the playoffs. Not like Portland has, but we think about the Spurs as a battle-tested veteran team. Certainly you look at the Harrison Barnes and the Aaron Foxes of the world, and there's certainly lots of veterans on that squad, but the core of that team is very, very young with very, very little postseason experience, which isn't an optimal thing when you talk about, what's the Moda Center going to look like tonight? What's the Rose Garden? That place is going to be nuts as it gets for a home court in the NBA. It mattered. Those home courts mattered last night. Toronto's home court was insane, and it made a difference. Cleveland couldn't match their energy, and it wasn't the only team like that. So it's certainly no gimme for the Spurs this evening. And there's this thought process that Portland isn't that good. If you watch Portland all year, they're pretty good. I'm just a star. All right. They're young backwards. Scoot Henderson all of a sudden showing signs of being a really good player, the player that we thought that he was going to be. And the young talent they have, the low post presence of Clingham, this is not a team that's going to roll over. This is a tough out for San Antonio tonight. No question about it. That being said, all right, the Spurs off a loss, 14-7 ATS. We love San Antonio off a defeat. This has been their role. The Spurs had a better road record, and the Blazers had home record this season. We know that Portland can win on the highway. The Spurs went 12-6 straight up with Wemby not on the floor this year. More than capable of winning without their superstar. And the Spurs are absolutely the team that I expect to win the series, even though I don't know that it's going to be a walkover. We look at Portland, and it's certainly worth noting, they lost 17 times on this floor this year. And they didn't lose much down the stretch, but who'd they play? Well, Indiana, Utah, Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Dallas, Washington, New Orleans, and Sacramento, all at home, all since March. They faced a litany of weak foes. Blazers stole game 2. I can only take San Antonio in game 3, but this stays for me in the lean category. I have not actually put money on the Spurs, and certainly not in this point spread range. We've seen -2.5s out there right now for San Antonio, the prevailing number, and you missed a good one. There were -1s out there for quite some time, -1, -1.5 for the Spurs. If you're trying to bet late, you're stuck betting the money line for this one. And if you like San Antonio, money line is probably the way I would look.
All right, we move to the Lakers and the Rockets, I hope.
That one you nailed.
Okay, good. Thank God the graphic matches what I said. All right. I would say most people would look at this and go, what in the world? Laying 9 points with Houston over under 207. What do you make of this game?
So the Rockets have looked pretty awful the first 2 games of this series. The first without Durant, the second with Durant. Now there are questions tonight where Durant is once again questionable for this evening. And it's not like Kevin Durant made a big difference in game 2. The Rockets were bad without Durant, and they were bad with Durant. Some of that has to do with the Lakers. And again, we're looking at the Odds Logic live odds screen where LA's +9 in this ballgame, +8.5 at a handful of shops, 207, the prevailing number. But we look at the Lakers dating back to the end of the regular season, 5-0 straight up, 5-0 against the spread. Each and every one of those wins coming by 10 points or more against the point spread. So when you talk about current form, when we talk about the Lakers without Reeves and without Luka, they've been an undervalued commodity. The betting markets have not priced LA correctly without their two or their 3 superstars. And some of that has to do with Houston. All right. The Rockets, there have been chemistry concerns, issues this season for Houston. It looked down the stretch like they'd finally found their way, and the all Kevin Durant burner accounts criticizing his teammates over the All-Star break were just nonsense, and none of that was real. And they played good ball for about 2 weeks, and then they played the Lakers. And that was then, this is now. It's not like this series is over. we look at the series price here, it's like the Lakers are, insane favorites. They're minus 150, minus 140, minus 170. The market still think that Houston's very, very live in this series. That said, if you've actually been watching the games, there's nothing to like about Houston. There's no way. I can't get to the window with the Rockets in the bounce back of all bounce back spots, and I'm a guy that doesn't worry about what a team necessarily looked like last time or the time before. But there's enough smoke around the Houston team that from a side standpoint, I ain't getting there. -8, -9. It's too high. I think the bet here, and what have we seen in the first two games of the series? We've seen a very slow pace and a very limited offensive flow for either squad. And again, we may have Reeves in the lineup, we may not. We may have Durant in the lineup, we may not. Either way, I'm not expecting any kind of pace. Both these teams are going to play slow. B, the Lakers defense is way better than their season-long stats are going to indicate. They're playing playoff-level defense. They've done it each of the first two games of this season. Houston's a really good defensive team. So we have slow pace and good defenses. Game 1 stayed under. Game 2 stayed under. You know where I'm going for game 3. We are not expecting points in bunches. Look for another under as the Rockets play the Lakers in Houston in this game 3 showdown.
All right, Teddy covers. We did sell me last week with the Knicks and the Hawks. We're running out of time, Teddy, so we don't have a sell me. We're going to give away a 3-day pass every time the Hawks or the Knicks win. It looks like we may get 6 or 7 winners out of this one. So congrats. Dan, who's our winner?
We got Fran is our winner, and back-to-back winners for those who are backing Teddy. So, yes, we'll give up to 7 of these free 3-day flex passes, for whenever one of these teams wins this series. It's been a real tight series thus far, so Teddy wins another one for the folks. Fran, your free 3-day pass is going to be added to your page by the end of this show. So congratulations, and Teddy, well done, my friend. Well done. If people use their flex pass and head on over to WT.buzz/TC, what kind of stuff are they going to find for tonight and heading into the weekend?
Well, real quick, Ski's in the house. Hakeem Prophet, who's as fun in the NBA right now. I'm hot. He's even hotter. Quote, there's one thing I like about Houston today. Reed Shepherd is supposed to get more minutes. They desperately need his shooting. When he was out of the starting lineup, Houston began winning, covering, and team total over. So Ski throwing his 2 cents in. Thank you, Ski, for joining us.
And Teddy did see it.
Stay hot, brother. Stay hot. That being said, I got a 5% big ticket tonight. I think Ski does too. And they might both be on the same game. So buy from him. It's okay. I won't be mad at you. But 5% big ticket does go this evening. I don't have many of them. 6-2 for the full season in the NBA. 75%. 41-20 over the last 5 years. Again, I don't put out a lot of these. I really don't. I had one earlier in the week. We cashed. I had one tonight. I expect to cash as well. Check it out on my homepage, www.buzz/TC. And oh, by the way, 90% MLB run as well. We're hot right now. Time to get on board.
Let's go, Teddy. Well, stay hot, my friend. Always a pleasure, and we'll see you next week, man. Good luck this weekend.
Cheers. Thank you. I'll take all the luck I can get, brother. I really will.
Hell yeah. WT.buzz/TC. And congrats to our winner, Fran, who, again, guys, it pays to comment. You comment below, include your WagerTalk usernames. You never know. And we're going to do some of these giveaways, and one of which is when we do Sell Me with Teddy. So Hawks and Knicks, back-and-back series. We want to give 7 away. Hopefully the series continues being as good as it was this far. All right, let's bring in Marco D'Angelo. Double birds, keep them in the holsters for now, Marco. But I do want to get your thoughts, because it felt like with the Eagles trading up in front of the Steelers, it felt like, when you're doing any like fantasy drafts or anything like that, and the one guy's not paying attention, and then it runs out and he's like, oh shit, I got to draft somebody real quick. Any thoughts? Do you feel fine about who they ended up with? I know it wasn't who they wanted, but thoughts on how it worked out for the Steelers, because it did feel very Steelers-esque in these recent seasons where Renegades playing, everyone's jacked up, and then touchdown, so touchdown the other way. Thoughts? This is a safe place, Marco.
It was like a kick in the nuts is what it was. Because we lose, start with, I think, who the Steelers really was hoping was still going to be available. Their arch nemesis the Baltimore Ravens took.
Agreed.
We wanted the kid out of Penn State, and he wasn't there. They took him. So now they went to plan B, and plan B was we need a wide receiver. And, all accounts were, they were going to get him, except they didn't see the sniper attack that was coming with Philadelphia to make the trade to land right in front of us. And you want to talk about last second, the Steelers are on the phone trying to call the kid to tell them they're going to draft him. And, Philly's on the other line. So it seemed like, and I'm looking at the clock, and it's like getting, at a minute left on the clock. I said, don't have this thing run out on you. And I think they were in a panic mode because they did have to go to not plan B, but plan C. And it felt like we're settling for, maybe the best available. And the Steelers seem to always default when they don't know what to do with the pick for sure. Let's just grab another offensive lineman, because we can never have too many of them. And because the Steelers seem to always have injuries there. So that's what we ended up with. You want to talk about anticlimactic after that buildup with, Renegade playing,
which was awesome.
Everything going nuts to end up having your Philadelphia Eagles, Dan, still our Thunder. That just was wrong. It was just rude to come into our house and to do that is the cross-state we're not really want to call it a rivalry because it's not, you're NFC, we're AFC, but it's, the pride of Philadelphia. That was just wrong. And that was,
here's one thing. And maybe we'll trade you AJ Brown for your troubles. And then you got AJ Brown, Metcalf. It's a nice one too there, Marco. It felt like to me, you talk about underwhelming draft picks. That was when the Eagles hosted the draft in Philadelphia. We were there. We were all hyped up and, oh, my goodness. And that was the year that they randomly took that Barnett guy who, he ended up being a part of the Eagles Super Bowl run, but really forgettable, injured all the time. So I will say the year the Eagles hosted the draft, they won the Super Bowl that following year. So, Marco, things have worked out in Pennsylvania when we host drafts. So there you go. At least
we shall see. I will just say this much. Because of the radio show I do here in town, both TC and myself actually had press credentials. We got approved and we considered going back. I am so glad that I did not go back to witness what happened, because that would have, it would have
been too much. So in football season, we always we did this fun segment with Marco where it was Marco's wing sauce of the week. That wing sauce is just the kick in your nuts sauce. So now we know what that one is. All right, Marco, let's get the folks some winners here, man. You've been seeing it well across a multitude of leagues, but let's talk baseball here today. Cubs and Dodgers, man, this is an interesting handicap because the Dodgers, they kind of had that battle against San Francisco. Now they return home. Really not much of a road trip for them. But the Cubs, my Phillies, did all they could do to finally push them and stop their losing streak. And then 10 innings, they end up getting the win. So 9 straight games here that the Cubs have won. So really hot heading into the Dodgers home park here. Interesting handicap here, Marco. How are you looking to bet it?
Well, guys, this is 2 of my, situational spots. Let's start with the Cubs. They head out on a West Coast road trip. I love to take teams that are winning in that first game of the road trip because the team is generally locked in, focused, want to get that road trip off to a good start. And when you're winning, everything is lining up right. So that will have me looking at the Cubs to start this game. And then you look at the Dodger side of things. They're returning home from a 6-game road trip. They went 2-4 in that road trip. They lost a couple games in Colorado, believe it or not, as hefty favorites. And then they battled San Francisco. That was a big series for San Francisco, hosting the Dodgers. So now they return home. I like to fade teams that first game back at home. We look at the pitching matchup here, and, you've got Jameson Taylor for the Cubs. He's pitched 4 times this year. 3 good starts and just 1 bad start. My concern with him, though, in this game is he's coming off back-to-back starts where he threw 100-plus pitches. That always concerns me early in the season when a pitcher gets, extended. There was a play earlier this week I gave out as a free play when the Cleveland pitcher who took a no-hitter into the ninth in his last outing and had pitched phenomenal all season long. I took the over in that game because he threw 112 pitches in that game trying to get that no-hitter. And when you overextend a pitcher, they don't generally have their best stuff in the next game. So with that, I expect the Cubs to give up some runs tonight. Then we look at the Dodgers, and you got Emmett Sheehan going, and he has just been in a complete mess. He's got an ERA of 5.85. His ERA at home is even worse. It's 6.75. You got a Cubs team. Granted, you're playing in Chicago. You're going to score runs, but they put up 22 runs in that 3-game series against Philadelphia. I do lean to the Cubs in this matchup, but I think the safer option in this game is to take this one over. I think both teams are going to score runs in here. And when you see a total of 9 in a National League ballpark, the Dodgers here, it's telling a story. We used that narrative last week and it worked out well for us. Let's do it again. I'm going over Cubs Dodgers tonight for play number 1.
Yeah, I love that, Marco. And before we get to play number 2, what do you have rocking for tonight? WT.buzz/MD Dodgers. He's going to the game tonight real quick. Dodgers money line and over 4.5 runs. So he's liking the Dodgers and the over the 4.5 runs. So hopefully the runs part of that equation can help you out there, Marco.
Have fun at the game.
Yeah, grab a couple Dodger dogs and enjoy a lot of runs, hopefully.
Now we're talking. Dodgers dogs will somehow, between Marco, Andy, and I, we will somehow weave food into it. We can guarantee that. So Marco, what do you have rocking over tonight? Like I said, you've been seeing it well, especially these top-rated plays. So let's continue that. What can folks find?
We got a 5% play tonight, guys. We don't release a lot on this. Is only my second 5% in the month of April. We're 5-1 with the last 6 of these plays. Go back to February of 2024. We're 45-24 with these special 5% plays. You can get it tonight. It is a 5% MLB major wager. Head over to WagerTalk to check it out. You want to go directly to my homepage, go to WT.buzz/MD. You can pick up tonight's game by itself, $35, or really the smart move, the plus EV play, is to grab a 3-day all access. You grab a 3-day all access. What happens? You get 3 bonus days, and all of a sudden you got 6 days of service for $69. That's less than $10 a day. We went 3-1 last night. Looking to build on that tonight. I will have both baseball and basketball plays tonight. I haven't decided if I'm popping hockey play yet. We're still looking at the card there, but you'll get everything that I do release. So grab that 3-day package and get yourself 3 bonus days. That's the plus EV way to go.
Yeah, it's the no-brainer, and that deal has been so popular. That's why we keep it up there for you guys. It's a chance to get some weekend action plus at a really great price point. So check out Marco, WT.buzz/MD. 5% are rocking tonight in MLB. All right, let's talk one more game and another East Coast trip going West Coast. Not quite the same situation. You don't have a screaming hot Marlins team. However, you are getting a Marlins team that's coming off of a travel day, so a well-rested team who will be heading into San Francisco, who's got to be feeling pretty good after what they were able to do to the Dodgers in their most recent series. So home domination continuing for the Giants, or you think the road team comes in with a little pep in their step, Marco?
Well, I like the situation for the Marlins. Marlins have been a crazy team. Remember when they started the season 5-1, and everybody's going, what's going on here? This isn't Miami. And then they proceeded with a 1-7 slide, and everybody said, yeah, okay, this is what we thought it was going to be. And now they've won 3 of their last 4 again. So they're heading out on the 6-game West Coast road trip. Game 1, I like that angle. Throw in another one. And you talked about piggyback what, Teddy echoed there. There's certain things that, we look at and try to find the value stuff that's not baked into the lines. And that's what I always talk about is, everybody has the numbers. You're not going to outdo somebody or outscoop somebody on a stat. I'm sorry. But the intangibles, and depending on what you do and what you look at, that's where you can find value. And you know that's me with my situational stuff. Well, here's another one that I like. I already said I like Miami first game of a road trip, so they apply there. Mentally, I like this angle. When a team is at one game under 500, mentally, that is just some kind of motivator because it takes you from being a losing team to not a losing team. It gives you that little extra momentum, and I just don't think that extra momentum is built into the numbers for that. And some people are going to sit there and laugh at me, but it is something that I've used for years and looked at. And especially further into the season that you go, the better that it is when a team can get back to 500, because that's like starting over. So you've got Miami sitting at 12-13. Now, let's look at the San Francisco side of things. You talked about they're coming off a big series. Well, you're going from playing the Dodgers, your arch rival, to now playing Miami, okay? There's a little bit of a natural letdown built in there, in my opinion. You took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, and now you're playing, you're stepping way down in class, to use a horse racing term, and I think they're ripe for a letdown in this spot. Then you look at the Giants, and let's look at things. Yeah, they took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers, but let's look at the big picture. Last 11 games, the Giants have been held to 3 runs or less in 9 of their last 11 games. Miami's going to send Sandy Alcantara to the mound. This is his 6th start of the season. He's had 3 gems. He's had 1 horrible start and 1 mediocre start. I think this is a spot for him to get right. In his last start, he went 5 innings. He allowed 3 runs, but the one concern there is he did walk 6. That's something that can't happen here. But when you look at San Francisco, who is countering with Adrian Hauser, things are not good there. He's been a complete mess. Last 3 starts, he's allowed 12 runs in just 16 innings of work. And talk about strikeout to walk ratio, 7-6. So not good for him. Given the letdown spot of the Giants, given Miami's situations that I talked about with them, I like Miami in this spot. And you got Miami here is a small road favorite. Alcantara, in his career, when he's been installed as a favorite on the road, guys, 16 times. His team is 13-3 in those starts. I'm going to go ahead and take Miami here to get this road trip off to a winning start and to even the ledger at 13-13 on the season.
Boom. I love it. Marco D'Angelo with a great breakdown there. Taking the road Marlins against the Giants. Comment below and let us know if you agree. Marco, it's coming into Marco time because May 1st, May 2nd, this not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, the 152nd running of the greatest 2 minutes in sport, the Kentucky Derby. And Marco, the prep started like 2 months ago for you because you have been posting videos to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. So make sure you're subscribed. You can check out Marco actually has a playlist. If you just search Marco D'Angelo, there's a playlist that has all of them right there. But Marco, the prep hasn't stopped, man. And as we get closer to Derby time and these pole positions start coming out, the handicapping only thickens over these coming weeks, and they can get it all right here on the channel and at your page.
There you got your auto racing pole positions. We're going to be drawing for those pole positions, post positions.
Yeah, what
tomorrow.
do I say? Pole positions, post positions. All I know is I leave the horse betting stuff to Marco. How about that?
Well, they will be doing that tomorrow at Churchill Downs opening night. They draw for the Kentucky Derby. So I will be more excited about watching that than I was watching the draft last night and what transpired. So it is big. Do check out those videos. Don't forget, Marco's Deli will be coming later today. Good show last week. We gave you a couple NHL underdogs on the show last week. We gave you your Philadelphia Flyers, Dan, over my Pittsburgh Penguins. I told him take Philadelphia for the series. Philly's up 3-0, so we're looking pretty good there. And also said to go against the Vegas Golden Knights. We have Utah, which we're sitting 1-1 in that series. So good information coming today. I'll have some NBA and hockey for you on Marco's Deli and more videos. And don't forget, we will be taping our big Kentucky Derby show. We're going to be doing it Monday for you, doing it early. We'll have the post position, so that should be out Monday night. Look for it on the Wager Talk YouTube channel.
Yeah, and why, post positions is what Marco will be doing, but why would you go to auto racing, Marco? You could just go to Spearmint Rhino and check out the pole positions over there. So that's really what you need to do. So
I think there's somebody in my household that might make me a late scratch if I went
smart man. That's spoken like a man who's happily married right there. Marco D'Angelo, WT.Buzz /MD. Thanks, Marco. Good luck on that 5%er, and we'll see you next week, man.
All right, guys. Have a good weekend.
Yep, have a good one. WT.Buzz /MD 5%er rocking tonight. And Andy, I sent you the write-up. So we will be adding on to the package, WT.Buzz /AL. Head on over to Andy's page. We are in play in the 3 major sports, and then the one that matters, Andy, college lacrosse. It will be added into the package, and you're muted there, Andy. But yeah, we'll have the package up for the folks. I just sent it to you, and I think you can tell I like this play quite a bit.
Yeah, it's already been added, so we're good to go.
Boom,
We got
it's there. WT.Buzz /AL.
Yeah. So, all right, let's go all around the world, and then we'll get out of here. Great show. I know we went a little long, but great information, great picks. Yeah, let's cash.
What we do on Friday, we go a little bit longer, and if you're still hanging out with us, folks, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe, and comment below. Did your team win or lose in the draft, or which team are you envious of how they performed in the draft? Comment below and let us know. Andy, let's get the folks some damn winners here, man.
Take a look at the first 5. Rays, Twins, under 3.5. You got two really good pitchers here. Bradley from Minnesota has only allowed more than 1 run in the first 5 innings, 1 time in 5 starts. So he's pitching well. Rasmussen, I love the comeback here. He had a bad outing last game, but that was the outlier. 3 previous starts were really solid. 2 earned runs total in 16 innings. So I like the under there. And I'm going to go with Jokic under 54.5 points, rebounds, and assists. This is a 3-game sample. He's had 49, 47, and 45 in this series. His 3-point shot is gone. It's just been terrible. He was as selfish as I've ever seen last night with his shots. I get it. Like, they're kind of down to a skeleton crew without Aaron Gordon in there, but Rudy Gobert, man, Rudy Gobert is kind of dominating him. Not dominating, but making his impact felt. He's doing enough to clog up the lane and clog up the offense. And it's pretty obvious that Gobert is really pissed about not being considered for Defensive Player of the Year, and he's flexing it. So I think if Aaron Gordon is out again, look out. I think this Nuggets team is in real trouble because now you just focus on Jokic and those other role players are lost. So I'll take the under 54.5 points, rebounds, and assists. So those are your 2 free plays. We got a big weekend of plays, guys. Yeah, a big weekend of plays. If you want 3 days, you get 3 days added on for free. So we'll get you through the weekend, and then you're basically getting Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday for free. 4 plays up 4%. I think 3 of them are 4% plays. We got lacrosse, NHL, we got MLB, and we got an NBA best bet tonight. So let's have a big one, man. Let's have a big weekend, guys. We'll be back on Monday. Please hit the like button on your way out.
Yes.
Good luck on all your bets, and we'll see everyone on Monday. Take care.
Smash that like button, folks. Come on. Over almost 200 people watching us live here, Andy, just on YouTube alone. 50 likes. I hate to be like Prez. Get those likes.